Now, while many of our pubs in this country will be starting to get pretty rowdy now as people kick on with their St Pat's Day celebrations, Brendan O'Neill has just gotten up in London at the start of St Pat's Day. Happy St Pat's Day, Brendan, but it's going to be pretty bleak in London.
Thanks, Chris. It's going to be very bleak. Our pubs are still closed. I mean, everything is still closed here. There's no socialising, no mingling indoors at all. You can meet one friend outside for a walk, but it's a grey, rainy day and not many people will want to do that. So it's St Patrick's Day without pubs, which in my view makes it pretty pointless. But we'll do our best to celebrate St Patrick. I'm not quite sure how.
Yeah, see if you can raise a lager at some stage somewhere with someone, by the sounds of it, one person. Now, on the pandemic, it's quite extraordinary how many countries now have hit pause on the AstraZeneca vaccine. Australia's continuing on with it, and the UK too. What's the situation there? Do you think it's wise?
It's actually really shocking what's going on in Europe at the moment. So France, Germany, Italy, Spain and other countries have all suspended the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine on the basis that it has been linked to blood clots. But there's no proof that the vaccine is to blame. It's an infinitesimally small number of blood clots out of millions upon millions of people who have been vaccinated. Everyone is saying, well, the experts are saying that the vaccine is safe. And yet these countries are suspending it. It's hard to avoid the conclusion that there's a lot of geopolitics in this. Of course, AstraZeneca is the British vaccine, and Europe and the European Union are pretty angry with Britain at the moment because of Brexit. You know, it's really funny. We were told that populist Britain would have loads of vaccine skepticism and loads of myths and lies being spread. That's not the case at all. That's happening actually more in Europe than in the UK. We were told that Brexit Britain would struggle to get vaccines because we cut ourselves off from Europe. In fact, we have vaccinated 25 million people, whereas European countries are lagging badly behind. So what this story actually shows is how sensible Brexit was, how right Brexit was, and that it's the technocratic oligarchy in Brussels that is failing the people of Europe right now.
Yeah, spot on observations there. And, you know, Australia is in a very, very good position here because we can follow the UK and watch what happens. Now, I've got to ask you about this shocking murder of Sarah Everard, just taken from the street, her body found dumped. The man who's been arrested and charged with her murder, a senior policeman. Little wonder that there's been such a huge community reaction and a lot of people out protesting, remembering Sarah, including Kate as well, the Duchess of Cambridge.
That's right. The Duchess of Cambridge turned up to the bandstand, which you can see there, which is in Clapham Common in London. Sarah Everard was snatched from very close to Clapham Common, and there's a lot of anger especially among young women in London. They're really angry at what's going on. What was really disturbing about the vigil that was held for Sarah on Saturday at Clapham Common is that the police broke it up, and there were really shocking scenes. These were primarily women campaigning, offering sorrow and solidarity to a young woman who allegedly was murdered by a police officer, and those women were attacked by police officers. It was a really dispiriting, disturbing sight, and it actually demonstrated how inhumane the lockdown has become when people can't even gather to express their grief and their mourning for a woman who was kidnapped and killed, we suspect, in such an awful way. So it raises questions about the lockdown, it raises questions about women's safety, it raises questions about the behaviour of the police. There's lots of questions to be answered here.
Yeah, it is disgraceful. It's overreach by the police. People have to be able to gather. They're making these decisions themselves. They're aware of the virus. They have to be able to do this, don't they?
That's absolutely right. And, you know, the sensible thing for the cops to have done on Saturday was just to have left that crowd of people alone. They would have stayed there for 2 or 3 hours and then they would have gone home. And what happened instead when the police moved in, it became a massive fight. It sent shocking images across the world. People ended up staying longer than they otherwise would have. It was a disastrous decision on every level. People need some right to gather, even in a pandemic, and to take part in vigils like that one.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks for joining us again, Brendan. And again, I hope you get to celebrate St Pat's Day somewhere.
Thanks, Chris.
Brendan O'Neill there. You can read him often in The Australian or in The Spectator in Australia. Obviously, he's the editor of Spiked Online as well in the UK. Always great to have his input.